You see? I told you. I told you. And there are so many of you guys who would argue that taxes are necessary because they provide the funding for local departments at fire departments and police departments and roads and schools and cap. It's just cap. It's a lie. It's only used to make you feel like you're contributing, and it also is used to suppress your growth. This whole USAID situation has just been crazy. I was not going to say anything about it, but the more and more I heard about it, the angrier I got. I am absolutely livid, people. I can't see how anyone would be okay with the deficit spending and the misuse of funds for the sake of lining their pockets, I guess. I guess maybe a lot of this is strategically just money laundering, right? Like they say that USAID was used to fund liberal causes across the world to promote democracy and overthrow bad governments or whatever. That at least that's how it was used before in the past. And I can't say I even approve of it being used that way before in the past. But what it's been used for today, and don't worry, I made a list, okay? We sent $1.5 million for to advance diversity and equity, or basically DEI, in Serbia's workplace. Serbia? How much diversity is in Serbia that we're spending $1.5 million to do? Why is any of my money going for it? And then you guys are going to say, there's going to be people already in the comments. I can hear you typing away. They're going to say, well, actually, if you don't make X amount of dollars per year, none of your money is going to end up going to it. You're going to get it all back. Okay, well, I'm not going to get all of it back. A tax return only returns a fraction of my money back to me. But then let's consider the obvious elephant in the room here. If I don't have the money when I need it, I don't have the choice to spend it on what I want to spend it on. It is then given to the government by force, mind you, because if I don't pay it, people with guns show up, and then they return it to me months and months later, if not a year later. So if I pay taxes from my paycheck on January 1st, 2024, I won't get the money back until way after January 1st, 2025. Like right now, even if I file my taxes today, I'm not going to get that money until the end of February or probably the middle of March, maybe. And then consider this: it's a interest-free loan that they took from me by force. They took it from me by force, and for what? So Serbia can have a more diverse workplace? How much diversity is in Serbia? Like, please, someone tell me. Tell me how many people of multiple cultures, races, ethnicities are in Serbia. And even if there were, why do we have to pay for it? Someone please tell me, because I'm super confused. Okay, let's see what else. We had $70,000 spent on a DEI musical in Ireland. Now, I understand that there's been some things happening in the UK and in Ireland where there are more diverse peoples that have been immigrating to that country. Why do I have to pay for it? $70,000? Yeah, it's but a splash in the proverbial bucket when everything else is considered. But that's $70,000 that didn't have to be divided between us 300 plus Americans, and not even 300 million plus of us pay the taxes. So that tax base shrinks even further. That's money that we could have kept. I don't know, what does it come out to be, like a quarter of a penny? Yeah, I would like to keep my quarter of a penny. It's my money. Then we have $2.5 million spent for electric vehicles in Vietnam. Now, it's insane to think that we would need to try to provide electric vehicles to Vietnam, but this is probably spent in a way that you guys probably aren't considering. We probably didn't cut a check for $2.5 million and it just goes straight to Vietnam. What was more likely was that the money was then spent for electric cars on an American company, and then we ship those cars to Vietnam, if that makes sense. So it did kind of bolster the American economy in a way, but it doesn't matter. Why are we giving money with private funds with public funds to a private company that stands to make profit? Why are we doing that? That's insanity. Okay, I had to cut because I was getting way too worked up. You guys don't tune in to hear me yell and lose my mind like a crazy person. I'm sorry. I will never, never support giving public money to a private corporation. There's no such thing, or there shouldn't be such a thing as being too big to fail. Because if I have a private small business, I'm allowed to fail. So these other companies should be allowed to fail as well, and they should not be getting public money in the form of a grant or whatever to be able to pay for them to have profit. They take money and they siphon it out of our pockets with massive profits and then give their CEOs and shareholders these huge, huge corporate bailouts as well as bonuses. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have swore that I heard stories of the during the 2008 financial crisis of companies that are getting bailed out still paying bonuses to their board and to their CEO. Like, is that not the definition of failing upward? Like, what is going on here? Let's continue. We had $47,000 spent on transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 spent on a transgender comic book in Peru, $2 million spent for spent on gender transitioning and LGBT activism in Guatemala, $6 million spent on tourism to bolster tourism in Egypt, as if tourism didn't suffer all over the world, but Egypt's going to get special treatment because of what? Pyramids, I guess? I don't know. Then there was funding for contraceptives in developing countries. Why don't we fund contraceptives in our country? Why are we giving it to other countries? There was funding in the tunes of millions. I don't know. Maybe it was hundreds of thousands. It doesn't matter how much. All that matters is that for every single one of you who see this video to say that taxes are necessary, you have drank the Kool-Aid. You have drank the Kool-Aid. I would much rather have a tariff in place of a personal income tax on the federal or state level, because I could just choose to just no spend. I could just be like, you know what? Forget it. I'm only spending money on the absolute essentials, rent, utilities, and food, and then essentially pay a net zero tax for BS. Okay. I could just choose to do that, but that's my choice. That is my choice. What is particularly egregious about this USAID situation is that my illusion of choice is completely gone. They don't care about anything that I would ever need or want. They don't care about anything you would ever need or want. There are a select class of people in this country who do get aid in the form of welfare, but the vast majority of us, we don't qualify. Okay, I was turned away from welfare so many times before in the past that I just feel like, what's the point of even applying? Okay. Even when I was suffering, even when I was working for minimum wage, working full time, working 2 jobs, still can't afford to pay for everything. I tried. I really tried. And they're like, well, you don't qualify because you make too much money. Well, I don't make enough money to live. So where's that line? Where's that line? Or now, since I have a daughter, I have to somehow prove that I have my daughter half the time, which isn't, there's no court order that says that I have my daughter half the time. I'm not the primary caregiver on paper for my daughter, but I'm still required to pay for her schooling, her childcare, her food, her clothing. And yet, where's my help? Where's my WIC or food stamps or cash benefit or Section 8? Where is that for me? It's nowhere to be found. So if I have to work my butt off 2, sometimes 3 jobs at a time just to make ends meet, then everyone else should have to do the same thing too, unless of course you were born with some type of silver spoon in your mouth. And this is not me coming at you guys or against anyone whose situation is dire and they need these resources. I understand your plight and I understand 100%. I'm not against you. I'm against us then taking the additional money, or if not printing the additional money, and then sending it overseas for people who don't contribute to anything at all. Even if you are a net drain, okay, on the tax base here, at least you contribute somehow to the American culture, the American experience. You are buying products. You live here. There's some value in that at least, okay? You pay sales tax more than likely, at least on the things you purchase. That at least helps. But the foreign countries, we're not a net exporter of much of anything. So we are just essentially hoping that people will find value in our fiat currency and then they spend it, which then verifies that our dollars are worth something? Is that what the idea is here? Is that what the liberal economic world order is? If we could just get back to some semblance of a gold standard where our money is actually backed by something, not just debt, then we could probably see a change in all of this. We wouldn't have to money launder and finagle and lie in order to be able to make our dollars mean something. But that's where we're at now. We're at a point where we have to ship off money to foreign nations after we print it up and force people to accept it through embargoes and through the military industrial complex in order to just make sure that Americans can keep the AC on. I don't understand how this is beneficial to me. I much rather have something of value when I spend my time and effort laboring for something. And I know you guys want that as well. There's going to be people who say that the examples that I gave of the USAID spending have been cherry picked examples. And that may be the case. The USAID program may help other people in other ways, but it's egregiously frustrating to someone like me who works 2 jobs, sometimes three, 70 plus hours a week to pay for everything and to make sure that I have food and a place to lay my head, for them to then take it from me by force, to give it to someone else who does not deserve it and did not work for it themselves, and not to the degree that I did. They say that this USAID situation provides jobs to Americans, maybe through the embassies where some of these programs are implemented, some of those jobs. Then maybe through the example I gave earlier with the electric cars from Vietnam, American products are being purchased. The same thing was argued to me about Ukraine, is that we're not giving Ukraine direct funds to buy whatever they want. We're essentially paying for military contracts for American companies then to send the weapons over. I can't say that I'm well read or researched on that area, so I'm not going to even try to say that I am. But it all flows back to what I've been saying before. No company should have access to public funds. Public funds should be for public services only. So, for those people who like to believe that our tax money is used for the fire department and for the police, that's what your local taxes do. Your county tax or your city tax, that's what those do. I am not necessarily against those things because it's such a minuscule amount. I mean, it costs me a few dollars per paycheck, sometimes $7 or $8 at the most. I'm not against those things. I understand that those services are necessary for the American people. My issue is with the state income tax that blows my money to brainwash our children with the public school system, into the federal government that wants to push DEI initiatives. And I would be a beneficiary of DEI, but I'm against it because I believe in merit. You should earn everything that is given to you in life. You should earn it, not because of your birth, not because of the color of your skin, but because you are excellent. And if you're not excellent in something, you work your way to the point where you can be excellent in something. I struggled very hard as a body man to learn these skills. Very hard. Hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours honing my craft to get better at it because I wanted to be better. I wasn't brought on because I was brown. I wasn't brought on because I'm a guy. I wasn't brought on because I was poor or because I was well off. I was brought up because they took a chance on me, because they say, you seem like you're a sincere person. You seem like you're going to try hard. And I am, and I did. And I'm only now, I think, less than a month away from graduating, technically graduating, and becoming a master at my craft. I surprise myself sometimes and I'm like, I know how to fix that. Inherently, it's in me now. I know exactly the steps to take, the process to do, the proper safety protocols to make sure that I conduct a proper repair, and to make sure the car is safe to be on the road, and make sure everything is going to be compliant. I learned those things and I took joy in it. I took very, very specific interest in those things. And as a result, I should be rewarded for it. And not rewarded for it just by knowing, rewarded for it by getting the opportunity to prove myself over and over and over again and earn a living. That's what I mean. That's why this pisses me off, because they're going to continuously find excuses to take from you and to take from all of us, to line their pockets with government contracts, giving contracts to their friends and to their family. So then that way they can continue to all rise up off of the sweat and labor of our backs. It doesn't matter if you work in an office. It doesn't matter if you work with your hands. It doesn't matter if you work in construction. It doesn't matter if you're a school teacher. It doesn't matter what you do. It is our labor that is supposed to matter to us and supposed to mean something and have value to the society. But they're taking it and exploiting it and taking the money, shipping it off overseas to buy personal contracts for their best friends to then give us a return back a fraction so we can feel like we've actually, like, they're doing us a favor. You're doing us a favor. Why are we bought so heavy-handedly into this taxation system? Why do we advocate and defend it against each other? We should all be on the same side here. We should all want no taxes. None. Maybe we can agree on a sales tax, and maybe we could agree on maybe donations for local taxes. But if you want to register your car on the road, then you have contributed to the road fund. If that's not enough money, then you need to incentivize people to drive more, maybe with the fuel tax. Maybe. But once again, that's all choice. They've eliminated choice in situation because I need bread to eat. I need to make money. So then they just take it from me. And before I'm even able to enjoy the fruits of my labor and to pay myself or to donate to anyone else, I have to make sure I pay Uncle Sam. Is insane. It's insanity, people. Why do you defend it? Why is it okay for you to watch yourself be raked over the coals and you say, yes, tax me harder? Why? Are you an agent of the state? Is there some benefit in this for you? Are you mad because some people have found a way to not pay it? And on that topic, we get so angry at the millionaires and billionaires who have found the loophole and pay no taxes, which in and of itself is a crazy situation, because let's say Elon Musk is worth $500 billion or some number. I don't know off the top of my head. And so you think he should pay $500 billion worth of taxes every year, even though he's worth that on paper because his value in Tesla or in X or in SpaceX or in anything else he's invested in has gone up. So now we should tax him on that value, not taxed on what he actually makes. You see how insane that gets? I understand that you guys think that I am some person that's automatically against all billionaires and millionaires. No, I'm against elitists. I'm against leeches. That's who I'm against. And I hope that you guys can pinpoint your target as well. I'm not against people who are wealthy. I'm not against people who are rich. I'm not against people who have come up and made their way and carved their way out of this system. I'm not against them. And you shouldn't be either. You shouldn't automatically look at someone who has made it and assume that they stole it. You should be angry at the people who are stealing it in your face. And they are doing it and they're hoping that you don't notice it. They think that you're stupid. That's what they think. I don't want to leave this on a somber note. I want to make sure that I empower you guys to think clearly, understand a different perspective, and help each other out. So what I want to say is this. We have a new administration in office, and maybe that will change some things. Tariffs are coming, no matter what Mexico does to kowtow, no matter what Canada does to kowtow, or no matter what China does. Eventually, there will be tariffs, and things will get more expensive. But we should be dialing in and getting closer with each other. So that way, when the time comes for people who produce specific types of things, maybe there's teachers out there who want to start a pod in their local community, we can tap in with each other and we can help each other out versus having to deal with this fiat currency. I can trade my labor for your labor. I can trade my product for your product. And we can get closer knit together and forget about the outside world. It doesn't matter what they're doing. We need to focus in with each other here. And we need to make sure each other's straight. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're white. It doesn't matter if you're gay. It doesn't matter if you're straight. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're left or right, or if you're somewhere in between. It doesn't matter if you're religious or secular or atheist. What matters is that we have been continuously pushed down for the betterment of a specific class of people who want to see you oppressed. Because when you're oppressed, you reach for dopamine, and that cycle of dopamine will continue you on the track of where your mind is controlled and poisoned. They don't want you to be aware of what's happening. They don't want you to be strong. They don't want you to know what's better for you, and they don't want you to think for yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys liked it, leave a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Leave a comment down below if you disagree. Obviously, you can disagree with me. I like to argue a little bit. And then lastly, share this video because it does help me out a ton. I'm still growing. As always, take care of yourself, people, and take care of each other.